What's going on, everybody? Episode 6, Fortress of SoliDudes. This is J. Rye, L.A.
What's goody? Aloha, Nick here.
What's up, brother?
You know, just you, man. Just getting the fortress back together,
Hello.
putting on the old satchel and doing it.
Yeah, it's our Friday tradition here. Yet another podcast for you. So this week, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the theme park wars. And one of the things that we talked about is that Disney is, of course, putting together this big Pixar Pier. Which so we're just like 2 weeks away from it opening.
It's insane how fast it came along.
It's insane how fast it came along, and yet it's completely obvious how fast it came along. And we're going to get to that because when you start to like peel back some of the details and some of like, it's like, wait, what are they doing?
Yep.
It was kind of thrown together.
Yeah, it does seem like it kind of was. Cars Land got their own park, basically, for cars. And now we're just going to sandwich the rest of the Pixar movies into one pier.
Well, yeah, right, kind of. And then at the same point, Pixar's already everywhere else anyway. You got Pixar in Hollywood with Monsters, and there's Pixar featured, inside the Animation Academy or Animation Studios section. Of course, Bugs Land. Right. Cars has its own land. And then Pixar Pier, I don't know how they came up with this because they literally just redid the pier too long ago.
Just a few years ago.
Because they just redid, when Cars opened. In 2012, God, it's hard to believe that was already that long ago. So they redid the wheel, the fun wheel. They redid so much of that. The swings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goofy. Mermaid. Like all of that stuff was like just done.
Yeah, and it looked great actually.
It does look great.
It was finally coming together.
It continues to look great. So here's the thing. So I think that at Disney headquarters, of course, they're trying to figure out ways to work in more of their international intellectual properties. And, they did it well on Guardians of the Galaxy, right? So it's like, okay, now California has the only changed Tower of Terror,
right? Which
is now Guardians, and they did a great job with it.
Yeah, and I love what they did with Guardians. I was very skeptical at first, and the ride is amazing, and it's a different experience altogether. And I feel like what you're saying, having it only here in Southern California, the only footprint of Marvel in the U.S., pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. So now I feel like now they've caught like a bug. They've caught a virus, and now they're like, okay, what else can we do?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden it gets announced, oh, we're closing, California Screamin', and we're going to make it the Incredicoaster. And I don't know. How did you feel when you first heard that, Nick?
I love The Incredibles. It's my favorite Pixar movie. So I was kind of excited when they said they were going to do something with the coaster. I was like, the coaster is great as it is. If you can make a complete story, I'm on board with it. I did think it was a bit weird just because we were talking about Guardians and it going from Tower of Terror to Guardians. And that just seemed like, they didn't want to pay Twilight any money anymore, which makes sense. Like, if you have your own intellectual property, you don't need to, farm out other stuff. But for the roller coaster, it didn't seem like they were paying anyone out. It was their own thing. Like, what was the point of doing that?
Well, I don't know that Twilight Zone had anything to do with it in the sense that they're still paying. If that was the case, I mean, they're still paying it on the other parks. So it's like they may not have cut their bill that much if that was the consideration. But as far as Incredicoaster, okay, so when I first heard it, I was thinking similarly. I was like, okay, why? Like, wait, why do you need to do that? But again, I had a hasty decision. And so now then after the artwork came and everything else, I'm like, okay, I get it. So it's basically, even though it's a great ride, it is following the same criticism so many people had of original Disney California, was that they're off-the-shelf rides that could be in any park. So what's the big deal?
Right.
And even though California Screaming's great, it could be anywhere. If you closed your eyes, you wouldn't necessarily know that it was Disney.
Very generic, pure roller coaster.
Yes. And so now it's going to be themed with Incredibles. And again, Incredibles is my favorite Pixar movie too. So
what up?
Hello. So I think that's going to be great. Here's what's so bizarre to me, though. When Disney announced Guardians of the Galaxy was coming to take over Tower, that's what they said. They didn't say Marvel Land is coming to Sunset Boulevard. They didn't try and like make it be this whole other thing. Pixar Pier, they are.
They sure are.
We're redoing the whole. Wait a minute. This is where I'm like, okay, you start to peel back the layers a little bit. Come on, guys, you're pulling a muscle here. It's not really redoing the whole pier.
No, you're redoing a roller coaster, and you're not even really redoing it. You're adding some tubes in to kind of create a story.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong. I think that the house aspect, for where you're getting on and where you're apparently turning the corner down at the bottom, I guess, is going to be somehow included in the house, and seeing Edna, right, and Jack. Like, I think they're going to do a great job with this one ride, but my issue is this idea that the entire pier is being refaced, but the rest of it is not really much happening.
Yeah, it seems pretty bizarre. I mean, they're breaking up the pier now. Instead of it being just Paradise Pier, it's broken up into 4 neighborhoods, basically quadrants. The Incredibles neighborhood, Toy Story neighborhood, which is basically theming the Midway Mania a little bit more to Toy Story.
Right. Which I felt like they already did.
Yeah. I don't know. I think basically it's those two, and then they have one called the Pixar Promenade, which is basically every other character that's left over that they haven't touched.
Again, just call it leftover land. Like, that's not a neighborhood. Yeah. You might as well just say, Iron Man, Captain America, and the others. Like, it's just it seems like such an afterthought.
It does.
And the Inside Out's not any better.
No, and it's kind of ambiguous. I mean, they've showed some stuff in sketches and plans, but nothing has really been announced. I mean,
it's so odd. I mean, I'm reminded by the announcement that they made. I mean, God, it was already back in November when Disney said this, and then they're talking about these neighborhoods. And again, to my mind, I'm like, Disney, like, people love you. They know you're the best family entertainment brand, especially when it comes to theme parks. It's like, you're not getting paid by the word or paid by the idea. So stop trying to make it seem like this extra hoopla more than it is. People would have been fine of saying you're just redoing the roller coaster. But this whole neighborhoods idea, no one's going to get that. No one, unless you're the total Disney nerds like us, no one's going to get, now we're in Inside Out neighborhood. And, so now, there's the characters with their feelings. Like it's just,
no, you're totally
I think
right.
it's so not necessary. And then it's just going to be more confusing because, let's sort of map it out. Like, if we're walking, follow along with us here. If you're walking through the pier, through the main entrance, and we consider the main entrance of the pier to be, what was Ariel's Grotto and the Cove Bar.
Absolutely.
So that way, right? So you're going to come through. Signage is now going to be changed. It's going to be Pixar Pier, right, overhead. On the right-hand side, no longer Ariel's Grotto.
Nope. No longer Ariel's Grotto or the Cove Bar.
Right.
Check out this name, guys. The Lamplight Lounge. The Triple L. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, here's what's odd about that, too, is like, as soon as I hear that, and especially because we're dealing with the pier and roller coasters, I think of Lamp Wick from Pinocchio.
That's amazing.
So, like, I mean, but he's not Pixar, so of course it doesn't really make sense. But like, that's instantly where my head goes when I hear Lamplighter.
Yeah.
Other than this mediocre diner in the valley here in Southern California, there's a Lamplighter diner that's kind of whatever. But
that's amazing.
So the really interesting thing is that Cove Bar, which again has been a giant hit for Disney California since opening day, going away, but not really.
No, they're just kind of rebranding it. Basically, that restaurant, the indoor section of it was called Ariel's Grotto.
Right.
And it was basically a character meet and greet lunch for kids. So you can basically have your lunch, and all the princesses would come by. You could do your photos or whatnot.
You could be stuck there with your girlfriend instead of watching football on a Sunday.
Guilty. And you know what? It seems like a great moneymaker. You get all the family in, you're spending a lot of money eating food. But what they were realizing was that the Cove Bar, the outdoor section, the line was always wrapped around the
It
building
was
for
killer.
people to drink cocktails and eat bar food.
There was a longer line for Cove Bar than there ever was for Ariel the Ride.
Absolutely.
Like Cove Bar was its own like monstrosity.
And it's the markup now. You know, you don't have to pay characters to come in there. Families aren't probably drinking if they're there with their princess lunch.
Yeah.
They're just trying to churn and burn a little bit more alcohol, and it's going to be huge.
Yeah. So now, just for the chronology, if anybody cares. So on day one, it was a Wolfgang Puck high-end restaurant.
Wow, I had no idea.
Okay, so there you go. So in 2001, it opened. They really
Dude
fact. Opened again as a Wolfgang Puck high-end restaurant. So they had really different ideas of what they thought this park was going to be. You had that as a high-end restaurant. You had the high-end Mondavi restaurant at the winery area, which is also now, all of them are gone.
Yeah.
That, and then there was also a high-end restaurant in what's now Disney Junior or Playhouse Disney, whatever they're calling that now.
Absolutely.
That was a high-end restaurant
remember that
based off of the ABC soap operas on opening day. Again, 2001.
Brilliant idea, guys.
Going way back. Well, I think that they were trying to make it like Disney MGM Studio in Florida, where they did have nice high-end restaurants like the Derby and even like Primetime Cafe and things like that. So those are really neat, unique restaurants. It didn't work in the first iteration of California because the rides didn't support enough bodies to come in there to get an expensive steak, right? Anywho, so it was Wolfgang Puck. Then they like refixed it and like, no, bring in characters and things like that. And so Ariel's Grotto eventually came. And then, so now here's another iteration of it that really feels it's all about alcohol sales.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really saying much. They're saying that the restaurant is based off of Pixar Imagineers and Pixar artists. So it's just going to be a bunch of sketches and, and blueprints on the wall. I mean, great, that sounds awesome. But
no, it doesn't.
When I'm drinking, does that really matter?
Well, yeah, it might be interesting when you're drinking, right? But other than that, like who cares? It's almost like over at when you're over at the Disney Grand California Hotel and you go in the snack shop out back behind the pool, and it's called like Whitewater Snacks or something like that.
Yeah.
And they've got like snowshoes like stapled to the wall or something like that. I feel it's going to be that level of theming.
Yeah, it's weird. It just seems like if you're going to do the Pixar deal and you're going to have all the stuff, maybe this is a time to bring in the screens. You can give a little tip of the hat to Trader Sam's. Is that the Disney Hotel?
Correct.
Where they do,
The
certain
bar.
drinks and the LED screens kind of go with that. If you would have had that maybe with some characters and base the drinks on the character. I don't know how Disney does that if they don't want to like make it like the Mike Wazowski shot. It might like give kids the wrong impression. I don't know if that's why they don't do it.
Probably. I mean, I can't imagine that they want to, have memes of, I got messed up on, the Mickey shot glass, like
Mickey's fun has a whole new meaning.
Sex with Minnie on the beach. I don't think anybody wants to. I don't think anybody's going to greenlight that. But so now the bar is getting greatly expanded in what was Ariel and Cove Bar. So it makes sense from business perspective. And what were you saying about the store right across the pier from that? Yeah,
it was some kind of pier-esque store, like something you would find in Santa Monica, in the 50s or whatnot. But now it's, get this, guys, another great name, Knickknacks. And right now they're selling just generic Pixar Pier, Pixar Fest merch right now. It's kind of under construction. There's not much going on in there. Just seems, again, like an afterthought. I don't know if that's from a Pixar movie. If it is... Great.
I don't know if it is either, and shame on us if we're missing some like great reference there or something. But I feel like this is another example where it looks like there's a lot of activity, but it's not really. It's still just going to be the same store.
Yeah, and it's okay because that store really didn't have an identity or nothing that really drove. It was kind of like a general like, hey, we sell Mickey ears, T-shirts, and
Duffy.
Yeah, like weirdness.
Duffy for a little bit too.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a whatever identity. So. To be honest, that right there is a sideways like trade. It's whatever. Not
Trust
the biggest.
me, I know all about the Duffy because when my girls were into that, we were in that store looking for the little outfits and whatnot.
Build-A-Bear action, huh?
Yeah, basically.
And it's crazy. So like, if you keep going down that pathway though on the pier, so we just went by the new Lamplight Lounge, the new Knick Knack store. There was an ice cream store that was just down the road.
I forgot what the old name of it was.
What was it, like California Ice Cream Company or something?
Something, yeah.
I don't know, something. We'll go with that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
So now that's changed to a Monsters Inc. Themed ice cream parlor called.
Yeah. I forgot what the name of it is, but it's the guy from it's the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah,
right?
it's called the Adorable Snowman Ice Cream.
It's
soft treats.
Yeah, it's John Ratzenberger, right? The guy who has a voice in every single Pixar movie.
That's true.
The guy from Cheers way back in the day.
I mean, it is a cool play. I mean, that is a popular line in the movie. And
hey guys, snow cones,
yellow snow cones. It's lemon. So that is kind of cool that they did that. And actually, the signage for it has for Frozen, there's like icicles hanging off, but the last few are all yellow, so it looks like frozen pea on it. It looks pretty funny.
Nice. That got approved, but no Mickey shot glasses.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Right.
That goes right over kids' heads.
Pea is funny.
Pea and poo. The two P's. So yeah, I mean, for that, the ice cream scene, I think that's actually a trade up. I like that a lot.
It's a simple fix, and it's kind of cool. Here's the guy that made ice cream funny in the movie. Boom, go for it.
And like the theming of it, and they have like a specialty ice cream that is specific to that movie. It's not like, hey, we just sell chocolate ice cream here. Like, what the hell does it have to do with the movie? It's great, actually.
Yeah. So then you turn the corner from there, and you've got sort of that wasted area that they just are basically pushing bodies around that corner to the very out edge of the park. And then you come back, and then you'll be at what is now the Incredicoaster, formerly, of course, California Screamin'.
Yeah, and so that's the first neighborhood, is the Incredibles neighborhood. Great name. So in the Incredibles neighborhood, basically that just consists of the Incredicoaster, which looks amazing.
Yeah.
And there's actually a new cookie stand, which is called Jack's Cookies. And that's where the camera stand used to be for the Incredicoaster. So I think they took the actual photo op out. So
okay.
I don't know. Something to see there.
Well, maybe they're doing a 2-for-1 because if I remember correctly, you can buy your photos, but there's also merchandise there. There's merchandise out on the stands and things like that. So I doubt that they would like just plop in a bakery there because they can't. So they're gonna have to be pre-made. Which is already making me say F you. Because I'm a cookie monster, and it's like, if you're going to go to that effort, then why not make them at least good? Like, put in the effort like Ghirardelli does, where like they're actually like making your sundaes and stuff like right there. Like it's like there's effort where, another freaking
there's a bakery in California. I'm sure they could bake them and send a runner down there.
Yeah, but their cookies at Disneyland are not good.
Okay.
Man. The resort cookies are not good.
See,
no,
I'm not on my cookie game like you.
No, we're gonna do some food episodes coming up, and yeah, you'll see what a big fatty I am talking about all the cookies and everything.
But for the camera stand itself, going back to that, I mean, with the new Max Pass, everything goes right to your phone. So they're probably like looking at
phasing it out.
Yeah, trying to get rid of that. I mean, how many people are buying that hard copy when you can get a digital download?
Makes no sense. Yeah. Speaking of which, not to detract, but I was at the opening of the Knott's Hang Time the other day. Again, thank you, Knott's. Appreciate the invite. Had a great time. That ride is kick ass.
It crazy.
It doesn't look like much, but it actually is crazier than it looks. It's really, really impressive. Here's the point of why I brought it up. You get off the ride, they take your picture. First of all, again, I know I was there on whatever, the day before, 2 days before the opening, whatever. They weren't synced up right, so the pictures didn't look right. The lighting wasn't right. But again, at the end of it, same thing. I had a physical big 8x10 picture that I can't take on the ride. Or because at Knott's, especially because of all the coasters, it's like you're not allowed to carry anything. So I'm like, okay, well, what do I do with this thing?
Yep.
So that's why, again, Max Pass, phasing out the physical pictures. Do that on your own time.
Yeah.
Here, it's in your phone. It's in your photo gallery. This is how everybody behaves.
Yeah.
This is like human behavior now.
And
everything's in your iPhone.
If you have that 8x10, I mean, and you want to share that on a Facebook or Instagram, so what do you have to do? Take a photo of a photo?
Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. So that was the weirdness that Knott's sort of did the old technology. But again, Disney's the only one that has figured out this Max Pass, which is, again, pure evil genius.
It is, and I'm having a feeling like they're gonna like Netflix us right now, where they're giving us a super low rate of $10 to try it.
Goddamn right they
and
are.
they're gonna
Of
wait
course they
until Star Wars lands or whatever, and it's going to be like $100 thing a day.
Of course.
And it's just to show people what's happening. And you're also seeing it too where, sorry to take a hard left, everyone, but skirt. You're seeing it with the Matterhorn getting a fast pass line. They've never had that. And now with the Pirates of the Caribbean getting a fast pass line, like, does that really need a fast pass line? The bridge is already chaotic as it is when it's full. Like, do they really need that?
Yeah.
It seems like a miss.
It's a lot.
It's just trying to take advantage of, which is fine, but...
So yes, it is. So let's take our hard right back to the pier. So we've got Incredicoaster. So the neighborhood, quote unquote, only really consists of the coaster and the cookie shop.
Yep.
Now, what are they doing with the carousel? I have not heard a straight story on the carousel.
Oh, yeah. So that was another one. Well...
It's right there.
So the carousel is now going to be part of the neighborhood just to the right of Incredibles, which is now called Toy Story Neighborhood. And
so now you're going to ride Buzz Lightyear in a circle?
I wish. It's Jesse's Critters Carousel.
Oh, so you did know the answer to this. Okay, I hadn't heard this.
Well, I saw like a big, like, again, this is part of like the sketch and the artwork of what they might have. But I did see in Hong Kong, they opened up a Toy Story land. And they have a huge Jessie. It looks exactly like ours.
I see.
What I think it is going to be the critters from the TV show Woody's Roundup. Again, very minimal. It happens in the second movie, and it's brought up for less than 10 minutes.
They've got such a boner for Toy Story. Like it's fine, but like I'm so tired of them jamming it down my throat. Yeah, I don't need to go that deep on that movie.
No, It does seem like they're just trying to utilize that space. Midway Mania was already there. Very popular ride. They're like, what can we do for this carousel to retheme it? Let's make it Jesse's something. And again, doesn't make a lot of sense. The show is called Woody's Roundup. It would have made sense if the ride was called Woody's Roundup since you were going in a circle.
They might have been trying to go off of, again, trying to feature, more female characters or trying to go to something to that extent, which is fine. But again, the two biggest stars of the movie always are, Buzz and Woody.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the two biggest stars, Wheezy.
Wheezy and Baby.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my dude. Right. Or it could have been something with Bo Peep. I mean, there's other characters they could have done. I guess, I don't know.
Lasseter had his hand on it yet again.
So yeah, the Toy Story neighborhood is going to consist of the new carousel.
So that is technically then something new. So that that it's not like they can change the horses into something else. Like that is going to be a new. That's a new ride. I mean, it's going to still be a carousel, but they are having to really put in work on that.
Yes and no. I'm seeing like it's critters, so it's like gophers and beavers and. So if you were a fan of Toy Story and there's one thing that you would actually think would be on a carousel, one character, what would that character be?
Nice beaver.
Nice beaver. It would have to be Bullseye, right?
I mean, Bullseye is he's iconic. You've got Rex.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I feel like that's pulling a muscle. And when you say critters, is that you're just trying to say that because you're trying to lump a bunch of stuff in? I don't know.
Absolutely. Or it could have been something with the aliens. He could have done something.
Sure. I guess they're critters.
Yeah, they could have done something with them. Or, they could have rethemed it a bit. Whatever.
Nick, can you freaking imagine if we go there near opening day and we see that literally it's the same, structure of the horses that they, just painted to look like aliens or put, Halloween costumes on them or something.
And that was another one. It's like, that's a cool little people eater, but that carousel is never busy.
It's never busy. But I tell you what, it did make sense whether they truly planned it or not. It made a lot of sense of multi-generational families because if grandma doesn't want to go on the ride, but the teenagers do, well, grandma can stay with the baby and go on the carousel.
No, that is
totally
a good ride.
Makes sense for its placement for that. But the theming of it never made sense that it was Little Mermaid out there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was. It was bizarre. But so the Jesse's Critter Carousel, that is one part of it.
All right. And then we get to Toy Story Mania is going to stay the same, right?
And I have a feeling, too, this is going to be one of my things. I have a feeling that they're going to rename that. Midway Mania doesn't make much sense since it's, not part of the Paradise Pier. If it's Toy Story Neighborhood, they might just rechange it to, I don't know, Toy Story Mania.
Well, that would match the actual video game.
Yeah, it
The
would
actual
make
video
sense.
game on Wii and everything, which we had at the house, was called Toy Story Mania,
Yep.
and it was a very similar game.
So I think that's the thing. And then there's going to be 2 new stands. One of them is a churro stand called Senor Buzz, and the other one is called the Poultry Palace, which they're going to sell poultry items.
Okay. See, this is where, again, they start losing me, because I feel like if you're getting down to the wire and you're telling me like what the food stands are having, I'm like, okay, I don't care. Like,
No.
what's the ride? What's the big draw? If I'm telling my friends, oh my God, I'm going to Disneyland Resort this weekend. Of course, I don't talk like that, but I'm going to Disneyland this weekend.
Does.
What are you doing? We're going to check out the new poultry offerings. Like, who cares? Like, that's not really relevant.
Again, if you're going to make it Toy Story, how is there no pizza port?
Pizza port. And then literally for Pixar Fest, which again, they literally put a banner over the sign in Tomorrowland to say pizza port. Like, come on, guys.
It was,
like, that's so half-assed.
They just could have done more with that. So that is going to conclude the Toy Story neighborhood. And just going past that is going to be the Pixar Promenade, which, a.k.a. all the leftovers, people we don't really care about.
But where does this actually take place? Because there's between the games?
Yeah, it's basically going to be the gaming area, which they've changed all the games. They've kept one, so it's Bullseye's Stallion Stampede, and then there's a new water spin game. Which
so
is
they're getting rid of Dumbo.
Dumbo, yeah, the Dumbo one is now a Wally spin around.
All right.
And then they had basically a bag toss, which I think was Casey at the Bat.
Yeah,
which is now called Heimlich's Candy Corn Toss.
Oh, well, if they're getting rid of Bugs Land officially, then Heimlich deserves that.
Yeah.
I love Heimlich.
And then there's another one, which was the Goofy's like fishing Goofy's Fishing, which is now called the La Luna Starcatcher. And I think that's from Wall-E? I'm not sure.
Luna,
I don't know. So basically, the Pixar Promenade is going to be the gaming stand we just talked about.
And the benches.
The benches.
Why make that a neighborhood?
And the Fun Wheel, which is now named Pixar Pal Around.
Okay, but Mickey's staying or Mickey's going?
Mickey is staying. The only thing they're changing is they repainted it Pixar Blue, and all the gondolas are now Pixar characters. So they come in sets. So there's going to be one for Coco. There's going to be one for Nemo, Cars, Toy Story, Incredibles, Up, and Monsters, Inc.
So it's kind of like all the socks and all the promo material that they made for Pixar Fest when they were doing the whole Friends thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So so when I got my promotional pack, like I got the Coco socks, and I felt so stupid because I still hadn't seen Coco yet.
Ooh.
I still haven't. So I'm like, oh, I've got the people from Coco. I don't know who they are.
I love that. I love that. And I love it when people say that. It's like one of those movies like Ratatouille where everyone's like, Ratatouille. It's like, no, his name is Remy. And that's the same with Coco.
Yes,
it's like, Coco.
Yes,
That's not Coco.
Yes, well.
It's the best.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
Well, you could, you could get me on that one. But so we're still on the same problem that I have with this. So we've already talked about basically everything that matters.
Yeah.
Which was the Incredicoaster and I guess technically the carousel. But other than that, now we're going towards the other side of the pier, and we're just talking about refacing for-profit carnival games. Like, Lottie frickin' da.
See, and
this is not that big a deal.
And I think basically, for anything, there were probably grander plans for this. I mean, I heard initially that they wanted to move the Crush's Turtle Talk, and they wanted to make a theater down at the pier, take up a couple of the store spaces. But, that didn't happen. That's a lot of money to go there. And they put basically a bandstand, which is, it's going to be a 7-piece band that are all wearing different stuff, playing music in the middle of this little square. And from some of the blueprints and what we've seen, it looks like there's like a water ball similar to what they have in Tomorrowland, but with the Pixar ball instead.
That's so empty, man.
It's, again,
come on.
This is filler material. And I guess everyone can say what they want. I think this is a material to get people to go to California Adventure in the last year of construction for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Or it could be something even bigger like what we just saw with Guardians. This ride open, and it's the first little piece into something bigger happening for the park. So I think that
Perhaps.
this could be one of those temples that goes in, and then they're going to see how well it does, and maybe the rest of the park will start getting changed slowly into different Pixar stuff.
Maybe. And we've got a future episode coming on that too called Dream Parks.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about things specifically of what they should be doing, whether it's not been announced or anything like that. These are some of our ideas when we see these flubs that we think they should do, but that's coming.
Yeah,
in the future,
and it's again going back into the Pixar Promenade. Again, it's going to be the new Pixar Pal Around Fun Wheel. It's going to be the 4 gaming stations that we talked about, and then there's going to be the bandstand in a character meet and greet. So basically, what I'm guessing it's going to be is they're going to start using the same characters they have before, which is Buzz and Woody, maybe a Jessie in there, Mike and Sully. They have a Frozone character that comes out periodically. I don't see him a lot, but I have a feeling that they're going to introduce Edna Mode because they're putting so much into her for this movie that gets the female characters up a little bit as well.
Yeah, she's fun. I mean, she's a riot.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
That will be
so
cool.
we passed the games, and all that's left is basically the Maliboomer that they took out, the big empty circle that is basically, then it became a smoker's area.
Yep.
And it's just some pepper trees like sitting up on that platform. So now I heard what the plan was for that, but it's not coming. Right, it's not finalized.
So yeah, that's going to be part of the 4th neighborhood, which is considered the Inside Out neighborhood, bro.
Why?
And so it's going to be this unknown Inside Out ride, which looks a lot like Bugs Land's favorite ride, Flicks Flyers.
Right.
But just a little bit redressed. And the other thing I'm only seeing there is that, the big gift shop at the end of the pier is going to be called Bing Bong Sweet Stuff, which is going to be a new candy store at the pier. So those 2 things make the Pixar Pier or the Inside Out neighborhood.
It's okay. I'm sorry. I think that is like one of the stupidest things I've ever heard with Disney. Because first of all, Inside Out, what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
Saw that movie, and still to this day, what's the big deal?
Yep.
Did not think it's a winner. Don't think it's that great. And now you're bringing more attention to it, but teasing more attention to it because you're not really doing the ride yet.
Yeah.
And what's this? Now, there's a pattern here, too. This is the second time that they've poached Bugs Land for, wait. They've poached something from that same area for the pier.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when the other time was? When they literally lifted something right out of that area and put it into the pier?
No, what was it?
The gazebo that's in the Italian restaurant gardens where they do
oh my gosh,
Fiesta
right.
Latina and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's tucked way in the back there up against Goofy. But that was a pin trading store in basically right now where Mater's Junkyard Jamboree is.
Mater's Junkyard Jamboree.
So that gazebo, they literally lifted, moved it right over, put it over there.
You're
now
right.
it's just shade, and it blocks a little bit of the Goofy for when you're eating. But that was a pin store that they lifted, and now they're apparently going to lift the other ride and move it over to the pier too. So odd.
Yeah, it just seems like a miss swing by them. You have one now e-ticket ride. Hello, e-ticket on the pier, which is going to be the Incredicoaster. The rest is really filler. I mean, Toy Story Midway Mania is also a popular ride, yes. But again, old people don't really go on it. Young kids don't, infants don't go on because there's so much interactive stuff.
Right.
It just seems like they're making these little rides. Do they really need Flicks Flyers to go at the end of the pier?
It again, Disney, come on, come up with something better.
I agree. And it's weird that they pick rides or IPs like that, whether it's Inside Out. Yeah, it did well, the movie, but it's not a huge staple for them.
Absolutely not.
It's they just had Coco come out. It broke all these records. They could do something revolutionary at California Adventure and have the first Coco attraction. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been half-assed too, but if you're going to go half-assed, you might as well at least go with something that's trending.
Yeah. Or, I mean,
Inside Out has no momentum.
No.
Zero.
Unless they plan on doing sequels later and that's something that they haven't announced yet and that's something they're working towards, then we take that back. But for us, it just doesn't make sense. You have The Incredibles roller coaster that's coming in, directed by Brad Bird. My second favorite Pixar movie, which is called Ratatouille, also directed by that man.
Right.
How hard is it to maybe have an attraction based on that, or maybe even a restaurant based on that?
Again, we're gonna get a little bit more into that in Dream Parks, but yes, I'm with you because Pixar Pier again opening in 2 weeks. We'll have more on it when it's officially done. However, I don't know. I feel that they're over exaggerating a bit. I feel like they should have just focused on this being Incredicoaster remodel, and we'd be pleasantly surprised when we saw some of the other little things. I don't really care what character is on the Midway game. I don't care what character is on the ice cream shop. It's fun with the Abominable Snowman. Okay, you got me. But like that's not going to make me buy a ticket.
No.
So why are you like hyping it up like that?
I think the biggest hype though, and the one genius thing with this is that they're rolling out a new attraction or a semi-new attraction with the release of a movie. And that's
where it makes sense.
And that is something that I don't think any theme park has been doing. It's something new. It's something fresh. It's going to gain so much traction for the movie and the theme park. It's going to be huge.
That's one of the things that's normally so annoying. It's like, when Harry Potter comes to Universal Studios Hollywood, 8 years or whatever it was after the series concluded, right. It was like they're usually so behind. So the fact that they're tying it in really close to the opening is wonderful. It is finally.
That is kind of like the props I will give Disney. That is the best thing about that. And the fact that they're actually giving The Incredibles a ride and giving them a little bit of shine. Because I felt like for that time, it was something so different for Pixar. It kind of kicked off that superhero movie. Like you could make a huge movie based on these characters. It had a first black superhero in Frozone. It had all these things, and they didn't do shit with it for 10 plus years.
No, it was so forgotten and so underappreciated.
It was.
Yep, I agree.
And so now to see it get its shine, I love that. I really love that. I think that's the best thing for them.
Right.
But again, this is what Disney does so well. If they make something look great, whatever they kind of let fall by the wayside is really going to look like shit just because of how great the standard is over here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a blessing and a curse for them.
It feels, though, that this is going to be their new trend, though, is that they're never going to stop. They're going to keep just going around and around each park, and they keep plussing these different areas because it didn't appear that California Adventure needed that much more, but they keep doing more anyway. So it's like, all right, great, why not?
Yeah,
go for it.
It's something too. I think that they're building. It's crowd control, anticipation for Star Wars Galaxy's
Absolutely.
Edge. So you can bring again as much as I love California Adventure by eliminating Bugs Land, that takes away so much of the aspect for the kids and for young kids and young families. Like you really don't have that area. So now you're going to be spread out between half of the pier and then the rest of the neighborhood, which is now considered Paradise Park. And that's going to consist of the Golden Zephyr, the Silly Symphony Swings, Jumping Jellyfish, Goofy's Flight School, and Ariel's Undersea Adventure.
Yeah. Well, I guess that'll become the kids' area. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, and it really is. It's like that is going to be the kids' area, but they need to do more. So I think that having these characters, these Pixar characters, maybe that'll be brand association for these young kids and young parents. Who knows? My biggest thing is this Paradise Park. I think once all the hype is done with Pixar Paradise Pier being Pixar Pier and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I think they're going to come back to this Paradise Park, and that'll be the next part they touch.
I don't know if that's going to necessarily be next in order.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if I had my way, I think that they should get over to Hollywood because that place has been like a mess for the longest. But I feel like there is
some stuff going in that area because they have the Marvel Land. So I think that with the construction over there, they're going to wait. They have to balance out the park. You can't have major construction on opposing ends.
Of course.
So maybe you're right. Maybe once that is done,
I'm just saying need. See, I didn't think they needed to get rid of Bugs Land, but geographically, it's the only way you can connect the hub to get to the area behind Guardians, which is what they need. So,
and it was like the gate expansion too, right?
What do you mean?
Like they wanted Disney and the city of Anaheim were working on an Eastern Gate expansion, which would have closed basically the walkway on Harbor.
Oh.
So they could have built out to where all those buses are for a potential Marvel land. And once that got squashed, the only other land really was that Bugs Land area.
Got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
now I know what you're saying. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. All right, brother, we ready for Solid Dude of the week?
Yeah, but right before our Solid Dude, I think we should make a few on-wax predictions right before Pixar Pier opens up, and we can maybe, you might have heard it first here from the dudes, or, it could be a bunch of shit talking, and you can be like, yep, those guys are the shit.
Or all of the above.
So, I mean, I have a few things. Disney, obviously, they have huge plans. Stuff doesn't work. Stuff gets cut from the budget. Things come up. So I have a few predictions for the Pixar Pier.
Yeah.
It's stuck in my head that way. And I'm going to have to start with my number 4 prediction of Midway Mania changing to Toy Story Mania. The name makes sense. The Midway doesn't really make sense.
Right.
Goes with the video game that we were talking about. Just Toy Story Mania.
I'm going to give that one a maybe.
Maybe. My other one is there's a restroom area in between Incredibles and right behind the carousel. What the hell is that restroom going to look like? I think they're going to theme that area full Toy Story.
Oh, that's a fascinating question. Because the whole thing about the restrooms, how that's one of the things that they don't waste their money on?
They don't.
Okay, so do you remember, I told you the story about what happened when they ran out of budget the last time on the pier, right?
Refresh me.
Okay, so the bathrooms that are behind Goofy Sky School, between Goofy Sky School and, again, the same area we were just talking about where that gazebo is, where they do Fiesta Latina.
Yeah.
And whatever the restaurant is, Paradise Grill, right? So when you go in those restrooms, they're still themed from opening day. They didn't change them. So you go in there, there's still all these Route 66 signs and tile cactus and stuff, because when you came in the park, you were walking along Route 66, which took you past Ariel, past the giant dinosaur sunglass stand, and ended in these restrooms. And so you can still see a piece of it as you're going by Goofy. There's almost like freeway barriers. Of that go down, and now they just walk into a seating area of all the food. So you wouldn't really notice it unless you remembered it from before. But the bathrooms they left alone because they cheaped out on the budget. So you go in there, and it still looks like Route 66, makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. But who cares? You're just going in there to freaking wipe your nose and take a number one. But I wonder if they're going to repeat that, because you're talking about now the bathrooms behind the carousel.
Yeah.
Are they going to bother?
I know it was kind of like aquatic themed before, so it just seemed like if they really are trying to make neighborhoods, the water Ariel neighborhood bathroom will not work. So that was my prediction.
I think that you're right, because I think that they're putting too much hype on this, that it would really look silly. But, of course, the other bathrooms still look silly. So I'm going to agree with that prediction.
My next prediction, number 2, is there will be no Coco or Ratatouille merch. What you've seen from Coco is what you're going to get. You're not going to get anything else. Disney has a habit of doing this to new franchises. They don't get on it when they should. They wait till years later. Coco is a huge international movie. They're doing Pixar Fest right now. There is a T-shirt with the characters on it, sandwiched with all the other Pixar characters. That is all. There's nothing else. Ratatouille, my boy Remy gets no love at that park.
Right.
So
only in France.
He's
got a ride in France.
He's got a ride in France. The guy won an Oscar. Give him something. They do even like a food and wine festival. No Remy in sight.
Yeah. Well, hey, I bet you Mickey says no more rats in the kingdom, man. This is my place.
That's it, right? Cats get them. And then my number 1 is I think the bandstand that's coming to the Pixar Promenade will be the first thing to go. That'll be the first change that they make. So see it while it's there, because I guarantee you that'll be the first thing gone.
Now, again, to be clear, where exactly is this supposed to be going?
So this is going to be in the Pixar Promenade. It's like basically in the middle of all of the shops. They basically put a huge wall up and painted it, and it's going to be just a bandstand.
Oh, like against the wall.
Against the wall.
that seems to make no sense. I mean, unless it's just going to be like that's the place where the characters stand for you to snap a picture and get in line.
Right.
But
it kind of
sounds
seems
pretty
like something
weak.
they want to do on like Main Street just to gain attention,
Yeah.
noise. I don't know, but I just think that's a huge miss.
All right, I'm going to agree with that one too.
But I do have a bonus one, but I'll let you go with yours and we'll do the bonus.
Well, my prediction is really simple, and it's pretty foolproof. I predict that people are going to come for the coaster, and they're not going to give a crap about any of the rest of all this.
Boom.
Yeah, I mean, I think
That's great.
I think it's just that simple. Maybe, but even later, like what? Later they're going to announce that, like, oh, now we're going to move the swing around Flix Flyers. So what, are they going to have a grand opening party for that? Like, who cares?
Right.
I don't think anything. I think this is it. It's all about the coaster, and we're going to forget about anything else that comes as just
And that
noise.
causes more issue for me that it's coming later, because that means that the incredible roller coaster is going to have to go down for a period of time to put in this waste of a ride.
Oh, they can't do that.
I mean, if it's
They
going where the
can't.
Maliboomer
No,
is.
I hear you, but
right?
I'm sort of trying to speak it into existence of like, you
Yeah.
better not do that.
Right?
Yeah, because we don't need to miss that ride anymore. It's bad enough that John Lasseter makes them close the coaster at night because it messes with the visuals for World of Color. Like, now that you've like advertised this big new kick-ass
Yeah.
ride of Incredicoaster, you better not be closing it during World of Color. They better expand the hours.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, now you're doing this roller coaster. You can make it go with the show if you really are thinking about it.
Yeah, how about that?
There's other things to do. Yeah, great. What else do you see in that, Jason?
Well, that's my only prediction.
Love it.
But
One and done.
Yeah, nice and easy, man. Nice and easy.
I think the bonus one, and this is something that we both talked about, is, just located right outside of California Adventure is a hotel. And that hotel is called the Paradise Pier Hotel. There is no Paradise Pier anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So at what point is that going to be redone, rethemed? What do you think? Is that something after Star Wars they start thinking about after the new hotel in downtown Disney?
Yes, I'm with you. I think they're going to leave it alone. No one's going to care. In the meantime, it's going to still have the waves on top of the roof, which still kind of fit that there's water,
Yeah.
over there. But no, it's not worth it. It's the lowest hotel on the chain of their current three. It's fine. Leave it alone. Don't touch it.
Okay, here's my other on wax prediction. What would you name that hotel and what would you theme it to once that time comes?
Well, it should go Star Wars. It should absolutely go Star Wars. Now, the problem with that is where it's located, though.
Right.
So if they weren't, but they've already sort of boxed themselves in because they put the second parking structure is going up where you could have put the Star Wars hotel, because it would have. Imagine that they could have like put a bridge from the Star Wars hotel into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge for early admission, and only special people that stay at that hotel, kind of like the Grand Californian has its own entrance,
amazing.
Right? But since that's not happening, it would look freaking dumb because that hotel towers over,
Yeah, it does.
Disney California Adventure. So I think I would love for it to be that, but it won't make any sense in that location.
Yeah, I think they'll probably go with like another 3P name, like Pixar Pal Place, Pixar Pal something, and it'll be a Pixar hotel.
Right. Or Disneyland Place, and just have it be nondescript.
Yeah,
because the exterior doesn't all of a sudden make us feel we're more at the beach than not. So what's the difference?
Right. Or it just seems, yeah.
That's not what a seaside hotel looks like.
No,
it's not like you built the Coronado
Mhm.
or something. Like, it doesn't look like a seaside resort.
And on like the totem pole of like Disney hotels on campus, that one is number 4 for sure. That's the last one.
It's the lowest of the totem pole.
Yeah,
for sure.
so
yeah.
That's what's going to happen. What are your predictions? What do you guys think is going to happen for the new Pixar Pier?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And are you excited about it? Even before all of that. Well, my friend, let's get to SoliDude of the week.
My favorite point of the show.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, who is SoliDude of the week this week? We both fully agreed on this one. This one's easy.
It was a no-brainer.
Right.
For us, it was the Cove Bar.
Cove Bar is SoliDude of the week, and it's hard. Maybe it makes you say, that's not a dude. But here's why we say Cove Bar is SoliDude of the week. ever since Disney California Adventure opened in 2001, February 2001, the Cove Bar has been a runaway hit.
Yep.
So no matter what people said about the park, there aren't enough rides, there aren't enough characters, it's too empty, I don't want to pay the same price of this side as I want to pay for Disneyland. There's not enough shade. There's not enough trees. The rides look cheap. They look like they were bought out of a catalog. Whether you believed any of that, you've probably heard all of those criticisms. People loved the Cove Bar. Unless you were a square that said Disney shouldn't be having alcohol around you. Okay, whatever.
Nerds.
Right. But the Cove Bar has been a hit since day one.
Yeah, it's the staple. It is something to pass time, relax, enjoy the pier, get some great food, cocktails. It just makes you feel like you're that was the only part of the pier that actually felt like the pier.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're on the water.
It has such a great ambiance because you sit there and you can watch California Screamin' launch. You can just all of the atmosphere and all of the movement of the pier because there's so much going on. And also you are perched right above the wave makers.
Yes.
In the beginning, the pier actually made waves under the Cove Bar.
Sure did.
And it made waves that went and splashed against California Screamin' as you launched. I haven't seen those working in like ever.
I mean, that's
because
something,
of World of Color.
That's something that's going to happen and come back. I mean, they've already kind of said something for the Incredicoaster that the water is supposed to come out when you're taking off again.
Great.
So hopefully they bring that function back in.
Yeah. Now they weren't the waves weren't being generated at the coaster; they were being generated under the bar towards the coaster. But either way, I hope that they bring something back to that because the water's too still. It just always looks like rusty, dirty crap because of all the World of Color apparatus, you know, that's just under the surface, which you can see from everywhere, and it's not attractive.
No, that's something that they need to get rid of down the road as well.
Congratulations to Cove Bar. You make lots of people happy.
Yes, you do.
It's it's arguably the biggest, other than California Screamin', which again is like the biggest, best staple ride that's been there since day one as well. Cove Bar, you are SoliDude of the week, and I know many people are going to agree.
Yes, you are. Please do not get rid of the lobster nachos.
Ah.
Please.
From your mouth to their ears.
You know it.
Exactly.
I go there specifically for the lobster nachos. Please. We love you, Cove Bar.
Thank you so much for listening. This is Fortress of SoliDudes. Again, episode 6, the excitement, the wonders, the mysteries of Pixar Pier. I am J. Rye LA.
And this is Aloha Nick.
And we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.